Welcome to our weekly So New Gambia platform. Today is May 22nd, 2022. Our discussion today would be on Nawec, issue related to Nawec and how we can maintain a stable and improve water supply and electric supply. As we've been saying, many businesses have been affected of power outage and water issues. So now it is really struggling to give the Gambian people the energy, the water supply, the electric supply that is needed. So we want to look into issues related to this and what are the solutions, what are the things that we need to do to improve this. So I have our panelists here and co-host, Sam Sise from Indiana and Alice, Germany. I am your host, Muhammad Sawane, New York City. All right, so Sam is coming first, right?
Alice is. We're talking about Alice coming
Okay,
first.
thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much, Mr. Sawane.
Alice, so what do you think about Nawec and what are the solutions for our electric and water supplies?
Yeah, I mean, this is something very interesting. It's a topic I myself personally was engaged with since in the 80s, I think. It come the 90s and then, but I'm still seeing generators. I was very busy with green energy. I think those days even the Europeans don't see the green energy like windmills and all. That was right at the beginning. It was the time I was trying to negotiate with a Danish company. The company just started producing windmills. Those days, many people don't even know about it, even in Europe. So I myself, I could follow up and I see that we are still dealing with this generator nonsense. Even the Europeans having money and everything, they are always focusing on that. Unfortunately, because we are having everything that we need, to survive without generators and oil and all this nonsense. But you can see that we are still sticking on that, so we have to live with it. Anyway, for people to understand, because many people they just say Nawec and thinking that maybe it's just a well where just electricity come like that, and that's it. In this sector, you have a lot of sections, or how to call it, areas. Like, for example, Nawec, the generators need fuel. So we always have the energy sector who are supplying Nawec this petrol. It could have been other energy means, but that's how it goes. So Nawec, like in a lot of countries, especially Nawec now, is a monopoly, you can call it, as producer. They are the power generators, you can call. And these power generators, normally they used to send that to the transmitter, the transmission, we call it electric transmission, also to outside. So you have these power electric distributors, we call it. They call them discoms. They are small companies like Gas Power and all these things, who comes and buy from Nawec, for example, and they buy it cheap and try to sell it to the consumers like domestic industry, and they sell it more to have profit. That's the way it goes always. So sometimes it's not directly from one I am knowing, you know. So and these distributors, that's where most of the problem is, because sometimes they buy cheap and they make a lot of losses sometimes, and a lot of losses that they cannot pay. For example, the energy producer like Nawec, the generator. So in that case, they are not going to have from Nawec again lot to give again to the domestic area and industry area, where always this problem is. And many countries are having that problem. It's not only the producer, but there's this way in this area, the discoms, where they used to have a lot of losses, especially in Africa. And that is due to sometimes bad infrastructures, or bad old meters, they cannot read properly. Even the transmission, taking from A to B, they make a lot of losses, So then comes to this illegal tapping of wires from other areas for domestic use or even the industry, what they cannot control. So these are losses they used to have sometimes that they cannot even pay their dues. So a company like Nawec will stay there and wait for his money so that he can supply again. If I told that they are in minus, I don't know how many millions or so, maybe they are not going to have from the generator like Nawec supply. And in that case, if the people at the domestic areas, they are also going to wait. Or sometimes they'll be cut off, and then everybody will insult Nawek again, but maybe he's not doing that directly with them because there are a lot of hands in between, and these people are not doing their jobs, So just for people to know sometimes what's going underneath, I don't know exactly what Nawek and this gas power they are doing there. Sometimes you even have more than many discoms, like 5 to 10. So some countries, they have a lot of these discoms. They buy it and then sell it. They buy it from Nawec and sell it. They buy it cheap and sell it to the people. So when they cannot pay, sometimes then the producer, like the generator, power generators, they call them, they can reduce or close the door and wait for their money, things like that. So through this dispute, sometimes other areas don't have even light. It's just because of that. Not that the power is not there, but they are not ready to give the discounts. Who is also distributing to the domestic people and something like that. So people need to know that in many countries it's like that. And these discounts, they used to make a lot of losses. Even in Europe, it's not that much. It's about, I think, 6 to 7%. These are power supply. Nobody can say where it is. So in Gambia, I know that we are hitting around maybe 20 to 30%. So being a discom, I think nobody should envy you, but that's how it goes. So I think the government should try and see that this monopoly from like Nawec is no more there. Can invite investors, maybe because when you have competition, the price will drop. And that we are having only this Nawec, he can raise his prices how he wants. People will buy. You understand? So once there are one or two competitors, you'll see. And when the price drops, that is also good for the domestic area and the industry, the consumers, you can call it. So I don't know what the government is going to do in that case. But for me, my main concern is that we forget about all these nonsense generators, oil, and how to call it, and try and do what even the Europeans, the West is doing, and they are having money. That is green energy, and we are having everything we need. That's why those days I was fighting for it. I think for some years back, I even tried to call that after Barrow took over, the manager of Nawec. I told him, I don't know his name, what about the green energy? What about wind energy? Things like that. He told me, yeah, we are discussing about it. In fact, we are going to have a meeting, blah, 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 blah. That was it. We are still in our generators. We say Gambia is one of the poorest countries, but using the most expensive power supply. That means we are not doing our homework correctly. You understand? Because even the people at the West, in the West, having money, are thinking of how to go to green energy. We are having water, we are having wind, we are having everything what we need as power, but we cannot see it. We ignoring it. Unless a European come and say, look, people use this, then we start to think of it, which is very sad for Africa and African people. We have everything, but we always wait for the European to come and tell us what to do. You know? Because what we wasting and what we spending, even the government, if they should make their homework, they'll see what that is costing the Gambians. You know? And why? Just that we are not ready to say, okay, we need, for example, 100 windmills at the beach side. Gambia is not big, even if you get less than 100, just 50 big ones. You know, they supply continuous, non-stop electricity. You don't buy petrol, you don't care nothing, because we are having wind. We are not paying for it. You know, these people, they know about it. If you go to Germany, you go to the North Sea, they don't even have places sometimes. They build it in the water. They build them in the water because they know what is that. You know, we are having everything. We're still running for the generators. How can we pay that?
Right.
When people are receiving 3,000, 4,000 salary. I think in that case, the government should try and, I don't know whether it's Minister of Petroleum or I don't know, but we should not depend on petroleum. We are having everything we need. We just have to open our eyes. So thank you.
All right.
Sam, you can come.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sam.
Alice. That was very good, Alice. Thank you for that. Thank you. I am going to start with definitely the government, because in any country, the government has responsibilities. And in our government, we have a ministry called Ministry of Energy and Ministry of, I wonder what they were doing, and since we had that ministry there, because I have not seen what they did with energy. We continue to struggle. We continue to be out of water supply and electricity supply and continue to struggle in a lot of areas in terms of energy. So in my eyes, just what Alice was saying, this is 21st century. This is where countries are going. Windmills, solar energy, all kinds of energy without using generators. And Gambia is capable of doing that, especially if that ministry was created back in 2007 or so. 2007 to 2022 is 15 years. That's a long time. 15 years of not producing any energy at all is really 15 years of waste of Gambian taxpayers' money, because having a whole ministry which has employees and all that stuff in there, and all the costs associated and expenses associated with a ministry. That ministry has to be very productive. If not, there's no need to keep it. So I will start with the basics. Like I always say, planning is very important. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, okay? Just that simple. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So when that ministry was created back in those days or those years, that's where the planning should have started, because we don't need to go back to since independence, because then windmill was not a name that was common for people in those days. Solar was not common in those days. They don't know what that is in those days. So, but 2007 is just only about 15 years ago. It is something that they should have thought and planned accordingly to really use our natural resources. I mean, there's so much sun in Gambia than anywhere else in most places in the world. I would say it that way. There's wind there. There's Orca. We have the Atlantic Ocean. So there is a lot that could have been done in our country, but I think we lack the people that know how. We also lack one thing, and that is the government putting the wrong person in the wrong place. If you have the wrong person leading something they don't know, they're not going to improve anything there. They're just going to be there as a body, filling a position that is getting paid for nothing because they're not going to do anything. So the proper planning, I think this government can start the proper planning and think about the future. Okay, we're in today. When it comes to energy, I know we've been complaining about energy and electricity in Gambia for a long time. It's not a problem that can be solved in one day. We all know that. It's not going to be a one-day solve. But the solution to it is to make plans and really do the study, the homework, strategize things, and see where you need to start for what is our short-term plan and long-term the way that we need to be. Long-term where we need to be is to windmill. Windmill is where we need to get to. If we need to use solar, we can use solar. But for now, what do? I mean, solar may be easier to install and to be able to supply certain parts of the country and things like that. So this is the job of the Minister of Energy. Yes, we do have subcontractors. We have third-party people or companies that come in and take their part, just like Alice was saying, play their part, play their role in there. Our long term is we need to be able to manage this ourselves and kick out all of those subcontractors and third parties and let Gambians manage this. And for Gambians to manage it, they need to know it. So when they need to know, I mean, how they need to know this is really, that ministry should have, if not, by now, they should really identify people that they can go overseas and learn about this and come up with those ideas. Let them learn, not only learn because Gambians are very good in theory, but practically they don't do anything. They really, I mean, you've seen people that are doctors, they've studied certain fields and they're doctors, but when they come back, the knowledge is there, the theory is there, but practically they really cannot implement anything. They don't implement anything. They don't start anything. They don't do anything. So we need to have people that are going to learn about this, but also work it, get a hands-on, understand what this is about, and then come back and work while the government deals with the companies that can help us get started. We don't want companies to come in and say, well, we can do this for you. And we allow them to come and do it for us, and then take half of that money. And they split it with us when we can take it and take ownership and do it our own. Similar thing I explained about Jahal Pachar. Like we need to be able to send our own Gambian people to study and come back and take over. That's what we need. Our long-term should be windmill. Gambia is such a small country. We should be able to supply the whole country electricity, but we are so far behind in a lot of areas. Just like I always say, now Gambia is 57 years old. That is how many years we are behind, 57 years behind, because there are things that should have been done on year one that didn't get done in year one. They started those in the year 10. So that puts us back behind. So energy is very critical, very important for people to have. We have a Minister of Infrastructure. When you talk infrastructure, you're talking power plants, you're talking hospitals, you're talking schools, you're talking water and electricity supply, you're talking internet supply, you're talking all of these, the roads, and we are still, we create positions and give them these big names, and they don't function. That is bad for us. So our government need to take a step back, really analyze this, talk to the right people, because the people that are advising there are not, are just so-called advisors. They don't know what to advise themselves, let alone advise our president or anybody else. So we need to get the right people that really know about energy and energy consumption, restructure Nawec, so that electricity supply can be something that will be a permanent supply, starting with a short term, but thinking long term, this is where we need to be. And in that case, structure Nawec to be able to work with the public, supply electricity, and anytime there's going to be interruption, they need to be able to announce that. If they know they're going to do maintenance on certain generators, because that's what we have now, generators, they need to be able to go on air, radio and television services, and let the people know we are going to shut power off next Sunday, so and so time, from so and so time to so and so time, because we're going to have to fix this generator. If not, it's going to cause us a problem. So those people can prepare ahead of time and not all of a sudden power goes out. Nobody knows what's happening. When is it coming back? No idea. So they are public service officials. They need to work with the public and serve the people what they're there for. So I'm going to stop here, and then we can circle back and then get into more details here.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
Sam, thank you very much.
Yeah.
In fact, that was a very good point. Notification, that's very, very important, because when they go out, sometimes when they go off, many people used to have a lot of waste of money, like they have a full refrigerator, they have to throw the food away and all those things, where they fought hard to buy all those things, for poor people is very, very sad. I think that is a very, very important point, that they try to make notification, tell the people when they're going, so that people can also plan that in their shopping. You understand? That can save a lot. I think that is a very important point you made. And then, yeah, again, that many of our people of theory sometimes, that's we still come to the same point. That's, when I say we have to change our curriculum, I see all those these disadvantages,
Yeah.
because when you normally it was not going to be a problem, because normally people come here and go to the college or go to the university and have the PhD. Most of them don't have the chance to stay here some months and do the practical, so they'll come back with the PhD certificate, but they've never done anything with their hands. So we're talking about the theory. If it was not going to be a problem, if they should have come to Gambia and have and they are welcome from a company where they can immediately start and show their talent and their expertise, and they'll at the same time have practice in this sector. But that is not the case. What is waiting for them in the Gambia? So they can only it's very sad.
A good way to look at that is,
that's it.
If
some
a
of
pilot
them
goes to a pilot training school and
it.
you learn everything how to fly a plane, but you've never flown a plane again. Okay, before.
That's the problem
One
we
day
have.
they put you in position and say, fly this plane from New York to Gambia. I mean, who is going to get in that plane? You've never flown a plane before.
That's it. They are all
You're going to cause a disaster.
Then
So
you
it
have
doesn't work that way.
Then you have PhD full of, all full of PhDs, but nobody can do that because the practice failed.
Yep.
There are certain sectors you need to have this practice, this practical. In Germany, it's often done that the way they learn, that you automatically have the practice too. Not to that deep, but you must, whether it's the laboratory or in the technical field or anything, you always have theory and practice. You understand?
Yep.
So that even if you are out, you can start immediately with the little practice you have in a company and try to go deeper.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's the curriculum they have, which I also support because it helped me. Because I was in St. Peter's Technical High School, and we could do that too. Those days, I don't know now. If you were doing architect, you could do technical drawing. If you are doing metal work, you do the theory, and then we have metal practice also. It was not too deep to that level, but we could also have practice, and woodwork the same thing. So it was only done in St. Peter's Technical High School those days. I don't know. And then from there, the next chance was GTTI. I don't know. Those days, So you see that helped me a lot. I came here, I didn't have that problem because I got this practice background also, even from Gambia, because this is very important. But when you do only theory, you need somewhere to start, and whether Gambia is giving this chance to the people with PhDs and so, sometimes it's very difficult. And when they have a position, it's just a clerk position. They go with necktie, they have their bureau, paper all over, everything theory. That's it. That's our curriculum, because we are not taught in school the whole way what we can do different. You understand? So that means to be changed. I always talk about it. We need to change it, because government cannot employ everybody, and it's the only chance when you can do only theory to be employed, to have money, to have survival. So that is also a big mistake. That's very good that you talk about this area, this point. But the whole thing is that we have to change our thinking or our way of having energy when we are having everything on our table. As you said, we have the sun, solar. These people are dreaming of having sun 24 hours. We are having it there. We are having wind. We have windmill. Then we'll be having continuous electricity. You have the water. We can build a dam somewhere.
Right.
The same thing. We can even supply Senegal and all those things. But we have to come first, start thinking about that. As you said, if you don't plan, you fail.
Plan, yeah.
So, but I know we are waiting for somebody to come,
yeah,
and put the light on. We know everything, but we have to take action. Nobody will do it. Yeah. But when somebody comes from Ghana or say England and say, look, people, you have to use this and that, then we start to say, oh yeah, it's a nice idea. Yeah. But can't we not think ourselves?
All right, thank you, Alice. I think you guys have really went deep in this conversation. So I'm just gonna give an overview and ask questions as well. So I'm hearing windmill. I'm hearing maybe create a dam, or we should get away from electric supplies and so forth. I mean, so electric. I mean, like power. I mean, generators and so forth. Yeah, I think all are good ideas. And then the government involvement to make sure that the right people handle the work, and efficiency and leadership and so forth. I think our another problem, to tell you the truth, it's even a shame at this point to be going through what is going through. And I can relate. One time the president was talking, and on the mic he said, "Oh, it's light." He went off. They keep bringing that. They keep bringing that clip on social media. Oh, shush. Yo, went up. So that's even, that's crazy. I mean, president of the country and then talking, and then the light went out, at the spot.
Simple.
So I couldn't even remember in the West. I think here, I've been here 30 years. The light went off only one time. In fact, people were celebrating it. That was in 1990. 2000 something, 2014 or 2000. People were on the street. They said, before the light come on, let's enjoy without the light. So it's like it has never happened in their lifetime. And us have that happen every day is insane. So what I'm saying here is that I think it's about time we step up with our electricity, because businesses are going down. People are relying on this. A lot of people's business are impacted because there's no electricity. They're not so able to, cool their stuff. Like some of them need deep freezers. They're not being functioning because of electricity. So, especially when we have visitors coming to our countries for official businesses, unstable electricity can cost us a lot. So I think the best solution is Gambians, is our government, of course, and then the Nawec, we need to look at it, and then maybe restructure there and then see how they can phase out, or maybe even if you have to have combined, companies, organizations that can work with them to try to expand it and bring new knowledge, new kind of technologies to help, this wind system that you guys are talking about, and then also trying to look at ways. So I'm going to give you an overview by what had happened in the past. So before 2005, the transmission, the way it is, you have the generation, you have transmission, and then distribution, and then consumers. It was a monopoly system, monopoly model. So this was pre-2005. So from 2005 up to now, you have the Nawec generation, the IPP1, the IPP2. So those all combined to have T and D Nawec, and then that T and D Nawec goes to consumers. So now it becomes a single buyer model. So this single buyer model, that's what we are having as a structure of the Nawec, the way the Nawec system, our electric supply, water and supply are. So as you can see, Gambia, like the way the electricity is distributed by the TD installations, we have the lines and the transformers and also the switch gears. So the reason why Nawec has been struggling, Nawec is highly in debt, and essentially they are bankrupt. For many years, they have collected revenue. For many years, collected revenues have not been covered, accrued costs. So they're trying to collect revenue from the home renters and homeowners and so forth, and then clients. But those money has not been covering their debt. So they are operating on the short term, cost inefficiency. And that's why Nawec has been in debt. Despite the 12% tariff increase on January 2015, in addition to the government backing of debt restructure since March 2015, still the Nawec owe about $9.5 billion, approximately $215 million. So that's a lot.
That's no business.
That is almost
no business. That is losses only. No business.
Exactly. That is 4
because
times.
You can lose in a business, but not that much.
Yeah, that's 4 times the annual utility revenue, or the around 20% of the GDP. So now,
but still, Mr. Sawane, still people used to say they are all not ready for the green energy just because they can no more cheat as they are used to.
Yeah, but
people say that there is a lot of corruption, and when any other energy supply is coming, or alternative is there, then they could not make their deals anymore. So then people are not. That's why Gambia is not serious or looking any alternative to generators and oil.
Yeah,
I used to hear that.
Yeah. So the question that I have for you guys is that how ready is Nawec or the Gambian government to make this shift? Because we know that the generators are not working. What is the how ready it is? Is it that the technology? Do we have the technology in place? Do we have the leadership in place? Do we have the to bring this windmill and then there are all these technologies that you guys are talking about? Because
but Sawane, the technology is there. You know what? In the Gambia, you even have that institute. Last time I see a reportage about it, they are training these young ladies about solar. I don't know whether you saw it before, about solar energy and all these things, and they are showing their work. They were interviewing these ladies, I don't know how you call this institute, but it's there in the Gambia, you know.
No,
And
no. To
these
have a
people
training
are
as
there.
to
These
have a
people are
training
there,
to
but
have a
we need
training.
the. These people are there. They can do it. They are installing everything, you know.
Yes.
And we have that already. What we need is just investigation. The government buy these things and bring it there. I'm sure that they can do it. Or you
Yeah,
bring the
but
company, they bill it, and make in the agreement that they'll bill it with Gambians a certain number, and they'll work with Gambians a certain number. You know, if they say yes, then you sign. So in that case, when they come and bill everything, even if they go back, Gambians can still move. You know, that's how the Chinese go forward every time. They don't just give people like that, you know, because they want to know also. They'll tell you come, but before we sign, you 50% our people are going to work with you. You know why they do that? So that they also get this technology, you know, because knowledge is money. Just that we Gambians don't see it. But money, how
right.
to call it? Knowledge is money.
It's
And the
yeah.
Chinese do it that way. That's why they are overtaking everybody. And we can do the same thing also. We
So
bring the company, these people are there, work with them, call them. I don't know how they call them. They are there and they know everything about this thing. They are
yeah.
Gambians.
So the challenge here now is we need the knowledge, and then we need the money, the funding, and the funding for it, the allocated funding for it. Okay, because the president is saying that when he came in power, it used to be, I don't know, 20, 50 times the light used to go off. He bring it down, 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 unless some people even make a joke out of it, bring it down, down to, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a day. We don't even want to
Even
bring
that
it
is too
down.
much. Even that
We
is
don't
too
even
much.
we don't want it to even come down. What we want
Even
is we
that is
just
too
want
much.
the power to be on and on forever as much as possible.
Yeah, you
So
see why in Europe?
so
Because
this is
just
the thing.
1 minute in the West. Sorry, Mr. Sawane, they cannot allow it. Even 1 minute or 5 minutes light off. You know, if you see how much that is going to be in money, then you will be surprised. That's why they cannot even allow it. It's a destruction.
No, I
It's
understand that, but what I'm
dangerous.
trying to say between you and Sam, we just want um, realistic ideas here, because the solar, the windmill, the dam, and all these things that could change our technology or the way we operate and have efficiency in electricity. We have to look at it in realistically, funding wise, the knowledge, the ability, the maintenance, and so forth. I mean, it would be great if instead of even talking about roads construction or bridges to solve this problem, because these are basic human needs. This is the fundamental human needs: electricity and water. Besides food, these are fundamental human needs. So if we can be realistic about it, with realistic model, that will work, and then keep the power on. But the thing is, we can perhaps have the knowledge, but is the knowledge be able to sustain the operation, the whole country? And this shouldn't already be Banjul centric. Right now, you go to my village, people are sponsoring their own solar systems there because they need light. Now villages need fridge. My hometown village, where I never seen a fridge there before when I was growing up. Now we have fridge, we have light, you know. So the place is, as long as the electricity is available, they turn it on. They are using electric kettles. A place that I've never even seen a light throughout my life when I was growing up. Now they're using electrical kettles. When they told me that, I'm like, time change in just 30 years. So people need power. It's not that they cannot afford to pay for it. The problem is it's not available. So my question now is, let's be honest ourselves. Do we have the technology? Who is bringing the technology to us? We gotta go for it. To say Chinese people are gonna come and teach us, it's not gonna be like that.
No,
We
no,
have
no,
to
no,
send,
no,
we
no,
have
no,
to
no.
send our people, to go and study these things and come and implement it. But are we doing that? Secondly, we have to make sure that we have the money. The budget has to be there. Right now, we're talking about $9 billion in debt for Nawec. Nawec is just collecting money from people that cannot even pay their debt or even keep them maintenance. The government has restructured things around them, but still, that's why they're trying to cheat sometimes. So my question is, do we have the technology? Do we have the money realistically? Or should we be pursuing it? So we have to be honest ourselves. Do we have it? Unless you're saying that we have it. But
yeah, I mean,
if we have it, where is it?
Look at this. Look at these people. It's an institute there. I don't know the name. I just saw about what they were doing because they even took the TV, the thing there, and interview these ladies. They are ladies. You cannot just imagine. They are ladies, born Gambians.
Yep, I've seen it.
You have seen it. You know,
I've seen it.
They are installing this. How to call it, solar and all these plates, and I was even surprised to see that they are Gambians. They are doing that in the Gambia. So that is not the case. And I know these people, if you tell them, because solar is even more complicated than even wind. The windmill, what we need is the company you're dealing with. They'll come and put them where you say they should be after turning them on. These things, they are not complicated. Only maybe they come once in a year and look again when everything is working, and they go again. We don't need to stand there and look how they are turning, and they can do also this time training some Gambians, Mr. Sawani, about the windmills and the machines and so. That's it. And that is not like going to college or university. And I know that this institute, they are already doing these solar installations, and so they already know, maybe even they know about wind energy also. So that means we are not going to start from scratch. That means the personnel is already there. So what we need, a company who is going to say, okay, we'll do it. Like my time those days before, I was very, we nearly signed the papers. I had to withdraw because of the person who was ruling the country, but it was a Danish company, and they are the first people who started with this windmill. I see that they changed name. Now they are called Danish Green Power, I think, but I was the first person to contact them just because of thinking of our way of having electricity. Generators, why? That is the most expensive thing in the world. And we are the poorest, so, and using generators still. Where are we? Where we have everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just need the company and make your agreements. They come, and with the money, you can also deal with them. It can be also like, say, every year, such an amount, they are most of the time flexible. They don't make it and you pay one time. You can be paying that per rate, like, and even if you don't have anything, when they build that, people pay their electric bills. You can be having money enough without corruption to pay that, without pain, and even have some over. You can even win without doing nothing. But only without corruption.
So, I want to say something here too. And these are great points, and what Mr. Sawana brought up, those are great questions as well. And the same as what Alice said. We have that company in Gambia, like Alice was saying, I've seen females installing electricity and things like that. Now, there is a difference between small scale and large scale. Small scale, I think that's what they're teaching those people. They can go get electricity and install solar power to supply a house, but to install solar power to supply a whole town is a different story, because you need certain components that they don't have and they've not messed with that yet. But like Alice was saying, and going back to what I said about Jahal Prachar project, the way I described that, electricity should be something similar like that. Getting an outside company that is going to come in and install this windmill or solar powers, power plant. Install a power plant that can supply the whole of Gambia, or at least make it a subsection, maybe region by region. You could go that way. A power plant in each region, or a power plant that can supply half of Gambia, and then another one that supplies the other half. We need a company that will do. But this is something Nawec need to do. Well, not the Nawec, but government need to do a research and talk with the right people to come do this, because right now Nawec is not functioning the way they need to be. And I think from a realistic standpoint, like what Suwane was saying, generators is what we have now. We may have to try to maintain those generators while we start something somewhere, and then eventually phase out the generators. This is where the planning comes in. And that's why I said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Everything
So
needs
the power
planning.
plant that you are talking about, first of all, do we have the technology on that?
Well, no, we don't
company-
have that. That's why I said we need to get a company. Our government need to really do their homework and do a research and talk to companies that can build power plants. And because Gambians
But
cannot build that.
Sawane, that is no problem, because if,
You know.
for example, Barrow happened to talk to a company right now, I mean, we are late in everything, because this should have been in years back.
Yeah, we're way
it's
back.
very sad that we're talking about it now, but we still have to talk about it, because if not, maybe nobody will think of it.
Yeah. So
Let us take the time, but it's very simple, because if I want
No,
to,
what I'm digging at is that
you know what we do here.
the power plant that you say, Sam is saying, maybe that's close to reality. Now, where and which company and how much can that cost? Can we afford it?
But these things are
we're trying to look at realistic thing that perhaps the government official, listen to this show, could go and say, you know what, Mr. Barrow, I think we should do this and do that and do that. So we want to talk about something realistic that we could tap into and perhaps change the result, because we're doing the same thing. Electricity,
but Mr. Sawane,
generators are going bad every day, and then we can sustain the power.
What we're doing here is just like cooking. We cannot cook for you and put it on your plate, and you want us to take the spoon and feed you also.
Well,
I think everything has a stop.
But if these people cannot feed themselves, we have
to. And I think at this point, Nawec need to be split into two. You have a water division and an electricity division, because they currently can't handle both. They can't handle both. They are not doing a very good job in both. If we split them and have electricity department and water department, that's the way it needs to be. That way they can focus on their particular area and get that straightened.
Yeah, I think that would also help the leadership.
It will help. It will help if we split them in those two different departments. Electricity department, those on the electricity focus on electricity. Don't worry about water, because water department will focus on water to make sure people get water supplies. But there's I
think that is how they did it, but it's still a problem.
And somebody need to start somewhere. If not, we're going to continue to be behind on electricity and water. And you know what? Those also contribute. They impact. When we were talking about economy, how to build economy, you also need a good infrastructure. And that infrastructure includes power supply, electricity and water supply, internet, and all of that for you to be able to encourage people, businessmen and entrepreneurs to come in and invest into your country and things like that. So even Gambian investors, I mean, if I am an investor, I want to invest, and knowing that what I do, I need electricity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and Gambia doesn't have that, I'm going to think twice before I can invest there. You see, all of these are important. So we need to start somewhere, and the government really need to be on their toes.
I just wanted to
answer. One of the things also that we do in Gambia is we talk about something we're going to do this year, but the budget is already passed. Okay, it's not in the budget. How are you going to do it? how are you going to do it when you don't plan? Like, that's why I said planning is very important. Anything you want to plan to do in the near future, in the next year, well, talk about it, have a game plan, make a budget for it. Now, let that
So
budget
the money is
so you can
spent
start.
before even the project
But
starts.
you cannot put the cart before the horse. You know, when you do that,
that's
where
our
are you going to
style.
get the money? You have not budgeted for it, but you want to do it. It's not going to work. And of course, at the end of the day, we've got to stop that corruption. Corruption is killing us. Millions and millions and millions are disappearing. Millions that should have been there to help us really mitigate this power supply, this electricity issue, mitigate a lot of problems in Gambia. Gambia does not need help from anybody else. If we can control what we have, we don't need help from any country. We can do it ourselves. We have the natural resources to do it. We need to have the people that
have the knowledge also.
And we need to have a strategy in place. We need to plan properly to be able to do it.
Alice, the ability to learn and to have a knowledge is different.
Yeah, Mr.
We have the ability to learn.
I just wanted
we don't have the knowledge. If we have the knowledge, then we don't know how to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to come back to you.
I think Pamela is online. Alice.
Yeah, Pamela is on too.
Yeah,
Pamela.
Yeah.
He's trying, but
he's listening. He's listening. So
he's listening. I mean,
I'm
I
sure
just wanted to tell you.
A chance to talk in a little bit after.
I just wanted to tell you, if the Gambia don't have
what is being said,
people with knowledge, how are we going to do it? I just want to give you an example, because sometimes you buy something where you yourself don't have any idea, but you know how German people do it. You know, I give you one example. I work in a company. They bought a very big machine. Nobody in this company knows about it. It's about 400 people. You have engineers and all, but it was a special machine where none of the people have knowledge. So what did the company do? They attacked me. So forth with this company, they bought this machine. You understand? So that's why I was very often away. I go there, I stay in hotel, and every day I'm there in the company. Sometimes 2 weeks, then I come back. You know, I go again. 4 weeks. So I was working right at the first screw with them, building the machine. You understand? So, you know what is behind it? When the machine is at the company, when something happens, I'll be there to do that. I know what's wrong. You understand? So that means I was studying while they are building this machine. They don't need to build it first and then try to tell me anything. You know, there are certain things I need to know later about the programming and things like that. But nobody can tell me, and I don't need any paper for it. I just make my notice and so, because I'm seeing live how it is built. You understand? So for such things, you cannot be very stupid. You know, and you are helping, you are fixing with, it's like you're doing everything with them. That's what I mean. So we are having such people in the Gambia. If you want to buy a windmill, take certain people whom you think they are, technically fit. Like I said, this institute, for example, even if some said maybe they build only one plate or something like that, everything can be big. We always, the small thing can be big. The brain don't know the size. You understand what I mean? The biggest house, the biggest company, biggest car is done with a model. A small thing. That's where it starts. From this model, it's going to be bigger. But everything starts, that's why you say model. Here we call it model ball. They started with a chalk, very small, and then try to exaggerate that. And it's not, these people, when you give them the chance, for example, if the government don't have anybody, Maybe
Alice,
we are having PhDs who are from the technical area. The government can take them
Alice,
and say, look, the company,
problem,
let them.
the
Yeah,
problem
come.
here is not the knowledge. The problem here is having a plan, having the resources, right? So we're saying the governments are very smart. I agree with you. When we want to learn something or we want to do something, and then we have incentive for it, we will do it. But the point here we're trying to say, what are the realistic, solution to now?
Yeah, the rest, that is government thing. I mean, everybody knows. As Sam said, we are in the 21st century. Even the government, if Barrow don't have any good advice on, so he can go online and see everything what's going on and what the other countries are doing. That is very simple. We are not now in a.
So now should our electric and water system should it be privatized or be under government?
Yeah, I mean, privatizing we have to be very careful. People are even complaining of electricity is too much, and so because once we leave these companies coming in, they also want to feed. They also want to pay. They'll buy it cheap from now. I explained this at the beginning. They'll buy it cheap and try to put their prices on for the consumers, and that's how they live. So if the people don't pay them, they cannot pay Nawec, and Nawec can also start cutting the electricity because they are waiting for these people to pay. So sometimes it's better when the government or Nawec itself do the thing, but once you privatize it, this person is going to pay, invest, and then he would like to. He's not just investing to get his money back. He would like to win. So sometimes privatizing is good, but sometimes it's not good for the consumers.
Yeah, my response to that is, for a country, really, I don't believe in privatizing certain things. This is our energy supply for our country. I would not want to privatize it. What I would do is, again, same thing I said about Jahal Pachar. I want to get the experts, the people that has this technology and know what to do and how to do it. Send Gambian people to go work with them, study and work with them, let them understand while they build it in our country. When they build it, if it's a million, let's say they build a power plant for $1 billion, and we need to pay them in the course of a certain time because we don't have the money now, because we mismanage our money. We let millions disappear and we still have not had any single person in prison for that, okay? So I won't do anything with that. I will go get a company and say, don't give us a budget, don't give us a dime. You come build it for us and we will pay you over time this much, but we're gonna own it and we're gonna run it.
And they do it, they do it, they know that.
We need to send our own people to look at, because we're gonna take it over. It's our property, it's gonna be built in our country. I'm not gonna allow any country to come build something in our country, turn around, use our resource and sell it to us. We don't want that. So power plant, energy supply, water supply, electricity, even the fisheries. I mean, you talk about the fisheries. Everything that government has another company doing, we should be able to do it ourselves. If we do the proper planning and have the right strategy in place, we should be able to do it in Gambia. So at the end of the day, there is, like I said, short-term goals and long-term goals. Long-term goal is we need to be able to own our power plant, use windmill and solar power to supply Gambia. And it could be even cheaper for Gambia. Electricity could be even cheaper at that point. That's our long-term plan.
Definitely.
In the short term, what can we do now? We're in a mess. There is no enough electricity in the country. We need to start somewhere. The government need to start somewhere and start, if they're not already doing this, one, again, split Nawec in half. Get electricity to focus on electricity, water to focus on water, okay? And then every department take care of their own and look at the demand and supply need and try to balance them out while creating maintenance schedules for their equipment. While we are building something.
I can give my
Alice. Do you guys know that we're getting some supplies from Senegal?
I heard of it. I heard of it.
That, and then how that is working.
Yeah, that is another thing. I mean, I don't think that will be cheap because, I mean, for example, what I just explained here, how it normally works when there is a company.
Yeah.
in
Why would
Senegal.
Senegal be supplying us power? How does
But,
that how realistic is that to you?
but we have to go to the ground. You know, people are just always quick saying Senegal. Maybe Senegal don't even have anything to do with this thing, but there are companies, I explained here, they are the distributors, we call them discoms. They buy it maybe from Senegal, electricity, I don't know,
I
Senegal
think
Nawec,
Famara is on
and
now.
try to
Famara,
sell
can
that.
you hear us?
You understand? I don't know what deal Barrow made with them. So these people, they can sell you electricity just like gas power. You know, so they'll say people will say Nawec, but no, gas power is dealing with the consumers directly. You understand? So that's how this police thing always functions. And I'm sure if you just go to the ground, you'll see that Senegal government have nothing to do with it, but there is a reseller, a distributor, we call them discoms, who is maybe selling that to Gambia or the Gambia government.
Famara, can you hear us?
So people will just say Senegal.
Yes, I
You
can hear you.
understand? So I know that if we
Thank you.
go to the ground, we'll see other
Welcome.
things than Senegal electricity. So I wanted to give Famara, I wanted to give you an example. Those days, I don't know, but such companies, they are always ready to work with you. Those days, I did it with this Danish company. You know, our deal was how many butots per kilowatt I should have, and how many butots they'll have, and how many butots should Jame have. You understand? The deal was almost too far, and I was just told to go away because this man, I
But
know
I'll,
maybe
I'll
today I'm not leaving, but that was the deal. And these people were ready to bring their thing. That's for them the investigation.
yeah.
The fact that they bring the windmills, that is their investigation. I don't need to pay them anything. They'll come and build it there because the wind is not something an energy I pay for. So when people pay, this kilowatt will be divided. For example, the Gambian a person pay kilowatt 10 butots. So I'll have 2 butots. They can have, because they invested maybe more, 7 butots. Maybe Jame can have 3 butots. You know, things like that. So that was already a dead deal. You just have to know how to do this thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we have to
It's
take
some,
2
so,
billions today and throw it away. And these companies are always ready to do it because they are having the technique, they are having the knowledge, they want to sell it out. It doesn't help them when they just stay in their houses with their knowledge. So they are always ready and flexible. You just not have to know how to deal with them, what to do, and which channels you have to use.
yeah. Okay. Thank you, Alas. Sam, Famara, you can come in quickly because I think we need a solution for at least either temporary or permanent solution for Nawec because what we are saying here, all of it, seems to be we cannot, these generators are not going to work again. We cannot be doing those things anymore because that will not take us anywhere. So we just need new ideas that could that is feasible. We cannot also say things that are it looks good on the outside, but realistically we don't have the funding for it, or it's not even we don't have the technology for it, or maybe we are far behind on that. So Famara, you can come in and then we can.
Absolutely. I mean, Nawec's problem has been ongoing for many years now. I think Sam suggested that we make a long-term plan, which is very important because we don't need any other company to come and run electricity for us, privatizing something that we can be able to do for ourselves. But because the problem has been going on even from the previous administration, exactly. I don't know whether Nawec was able to do a problem assessment or a need assessment or to know a diagnostic assessment of what the problem is actually, instead of, solving the problem, in a piecemeal manner. When a generator broke, you go fix it. When there is a more long-term issue that we don't know about, I think that's what we need to look at right now, because a lot of money has been pumped into Nawec in the past 5-10 years, because we have seen a lot of World Bank projects that come in, and then they have given a lot of support, IMF and all those things. They have given a lot of support to Nawec, but still the situation is still happening. And now we see that car power, the Turkish, floating boat or floating ship that is in the water, also providing electricity, and still we're getting some from Senegal as well. And now we have the OMVG project, which is also in pipeline. So, I mean, there are a lot of things going on. I mean, we need to know what is the problem, and I hope Nawec is thinking about that. And hopefully when the OMVG project finished, because they are starting from the rural areas coming down to Brikama, and you have seen recently they have opened a new plant in Brikama, which they said, it's a bigger capacity. When that one is ready, it should be able to, serve the most part of the West Coast region. You understand? But the problem is Nawec is only Greater Banjul area, because in the rural areas, I think it's a little bit stable over there, even though sometimes they complain Bansang and the Basi areas. But mainly Nawec problem is Greater Banjul area, and recently we have seen people have gone to take their own initiative because they cannot rely on Nawec anymore. Various institutions have bought their own backup generators. People have started installing solar panels in their homes and even in their offices, because they cannot just rely on Nawec. And without correct and stable electricity, our development is going to be very, very much lag behind, will be very adequate, because we cannot go without electricity. A lot of tourism development facilities that are in the country, hotels, most hotels have their own backup generator. But you know what? I mean, you cannot depend on those backup generators forever. You need a stable electricity to be able to have companies, to be able to have factories running in our country. Job can go on. A lot of small businesses depend on electricity. When the electricity goes, their freezers and their fridge are going bad. And most of these are fish processing companies. Some of them are local fishermen that are, just depend on electricity to get their ice, their fish cold and whatever. So we need to look at a solution to this. And I think, like Sam suggested, if we can separate these two institutions, water and electricity, then probably that would be a solution. Because here, I work with the county and we deal with the water section. And we do with the drinking water, we deal with the wastewater. And that is a different, that's a county owned operated facility. And yet we have a SMECO, which is a Southern Maryland electricity company dealing with only electricity, even though that one is a private one. So, but the situation is now, even with the water, we have seen citizens now going into borehole drilling. Everybody has a borehole in your compound. In fact, in the normal circumstances, we should go through procedures before digging those boreholes. But because people are so desperate, and then the government is not able to, provide stable water, now people go into drilling their own boreholes. So you might have a borehole in your compound, your next door neighbor have a borehole, the other one have a borehole, and we are all going into competing to get the same resources on the ground, which is the water. So the water resources need to be utilized properly and efficiently, and in a manner that we all know they are not violating, we are not putting our health into risk as well, because we need to know how those waters are being utilized, exactly. And then we need to know whether they're even drinkable, and then they should be able to be monitored to know the chlorine level and all those things. We need to know that, but we're not doing that. But because the government could not provide, Nawec could not provide, people are desperate to go into those options. And that's what we need to find out here. So unless and until we know exactly, which probably they might be, or Nawec have already did a study to know exactly what is the problem of Nawec, then we can be able to come up with a strategy and deal with it, in a short term, long term, and the medium term. Then we know that definitely, things can be able to improve, because people need electricity. We need water to drink. There are a lot of water resources in the Gambia. The water is plenty, but how do we utilize those waters? We can use treatment water. We can treat water and utilize it. So all of those can be possible. But here, electricity is very, very key. And I think now we need to come up with something as soon as possible. We cannot depend on the car power ship. They are not going to be here forever. We cannot depend on Senegal. They are not going to be here forever. And even the OMVG dam, which personally I participated in the study, when some 20 years ago, that's probably like 20, 21 years ago, when they are first coming up with the OMVG dam project. Because we all know the dam that starts in Guinea, the River Gambia get its sources from the Fouta Djallon. And if a dam is built over there now, the water is trapped, so we're not going to have less water coming into River Gambia. In a few years' time, whether River Gambia is going to be that we're going to get that much amount of water that is we currently having now, we don't know, as climate change is coming up as well. And we all know our hippopotamus, for example, they're all centered in CRR. And when we have less flow of water, fresh water coming through to River Gambia, there will be a salt intrusion going into River Gambia now. Our farmlands will be destroyed. And some of those biodiversity, the hippos that depends on the fresh water, now are going to be getting some salty water, forcing the hippos to go further down, which might not be even good for us in the future, in the long term, as we build up the climate change issues, crisis happening everywhere. But then now, Nawec, definitely, I think the president and the new minister of energy, they need to come together and then look at this with the stakeholders, come with a short-term and medium-term solutions as soon as possible. Like Sam said, building our own facilities, our own plants are very important. Even you will be surprised to know even the waste treatment is under Nawec, but they don't even have a waste treatment plant in Gambia.
Yeah.
We have one in KMC around Kotu, Kotu Creek. You see how that place is smelling. They're not taking care of that because the waste is being dumped into the Kotu Creek. There's no waste problem. There is a whole lot of issue that Nawec is facing. And until we know exactly what is going on, I think the water treatment should go back to the municipality, and then the government give them their support, then the municipality can hold the water treatment aspect of it. And then we see with electricity and water and how to go about it. But definitely, I agree with Alex that we can do this ourselves. We have the knowledge, we have the expertise. Gambians need to listen to each other, the new ideas coming in, because we have a lot of Gambians working in international organizations, that are into this kind of field, but because our people don't listen to new ideas, they are not welcoming new ideas, that they don't listen to each other. And this is why we kind of stuck in one place, because we cannot just, nobody knows all. You have to listen and get ideas and new ideas coming in, and we get our own local expertise, our citizens, to help in those
always open to learn more.
Yeah, open to learn.
So you think, Mfamara, do we have the resources though?
We don't have the resources, but we have we have the potentials to get the resource, because we are a small country. All right. Now we see we've seen that they said GRA has collected how many billions in the last year or so. You understand? So we just need to prioritize our development plans. Okay. Of course, it's good to have good roads, but if you don't have a clean water, the good road is meaningless. You understand what I mean? Because water comes first. Because without water, our life is people are drinking water that are not even very clean. So these are priorities that we need to put in. Before you spend billions on roads, or before a Chinese company wants, or Chinese government wants to build a road for you, why don't we just say we need a proper waste treatment plant, or we need a water treatment plant, or we want a stable electricity? Invest that money into that stable electricity, because we have development partners. European Union is spending a lot of money, billions of dollars every year in the Gambia. All right, we can negotiate. You just have to develop, because we have our national, policies, national development plan. It depends on what we market to the European Union. If you say roads are your priority, they are going to give you roads. But if you tell them, no, now we want to focus on electricity and water, obviously we all know that water is a fundamental right.
Even the World Bank will support that idea.
Even the World Bank will support. So it's just a matter of adjusting our priorities and having them right. Okay? The previous administration has did good job in road construction in the Gambia. The Barrow government has started continuing that with the OIC coming in. They are doing the Barton Hayden Highway. Yes, that's good. Let's focus this 5 years. Let's looking at our health, because we cannot allow a woman to be dying in a hospital on a mere blood, not in the blood bank. We need to have proper water system. People are dying because we are not actually drinking clean water. And if you don't drink clean water, you cannot have a good health, because much of this hepatitis B happening that people are suffering with the kidney failures and all things, it could be partly due to the water that we are drinking. The waters are not clean. When the water is not clean,
Famara, look at this dump site there in Bakote.
exactly.
You understand? So
Yeah.
when people should not forget that it's raining and all this poison is going down.
Exactly.
Where is it going?
Yeah.
That is going to the water level.
It's going to the
So
water.
so that means all these people in that area having boreholes,
Yeah,
or wells, they have to be very careful with the water to cook
exactly.
it before they
So they
drink
might be
it,
drinking
to be
water
on the
that has
safe
lead
side.
already, that is already lead contaminated.
But
So
that
this
is
is why it's
that is
important.
the responsibility of the Minister of Health and Environment
Yeah,
to look into this. But no, I don't
absolutely.
know whether they look on these things,
Unless there is
because
no
that is very
control, because if
dangerous.
there is control, that everybody that is drinking a borehole must take a permission from the Department of Water Resources, and we have to come and test your water to know the pH level of that water and probably know what the alkalinity level is and the lead content. And then they will be able to approve for you to drink that water. But people are just drinking borehole and the water just comes because it's clean. You think it's okay, it's safe and drink. When
Yeah,
you don't know that
normally before, because Gambia is was not the environment was okay, was clean. We can
yes,
still say clean compared to other countries, because our industry is not that much. I can
right.
give you one example. Those days, we went from Banjul to London Corner.
Mhm.
You know, you cannot believe the sun was just like a beach sun. It was clean like a big sun. So
Right,
I don't know whether you can see it very clean like today. Why? Because of the environmental pollution we have. You know,
exactly.
if you see when it rains, some people they have their car workshop right somewhere without fundament or nothing. So when it rains, all this oil is going to the rainwater. We don't
Right,
have drainage, and all these things are going to come in, sink down, and could go to the water level, because it's not very far. If you dig a well, I think maybe 10 meters you see water. You know, these are
The
things
kind of
not to
water,
be underrated. Yeah, you
yeah,
know.
but you don't know the
So
kind of water you are drinking. So
that's it. So
like,
normally, it's not maybe very dangerous for people who are very far away from these pollution areas like the dump site. But the people around the dump site, I think what Farmer said is very important. Let them
I,
go
thi- I
and
think
test
I
this
think
water
I think
before
we're
they
gonna have
drink it.
a discussion on waste management by a topic by itself, because that's a huge area, and
Yeah,
then that affects
I agree, because
yeah,
I've
waste
once talked
management.
about
That
that
could
and
be
recommended that
yeah,
Bakote dump
Yeah.
site to be moved. I
yeah.
right.
once recommended, I've said it not once, not twice in my audios, that dump site really need to get out of that. They need to move it out, way out there,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, we need to talk about that. That
Yeah,
should
we
be a
we to have
subject.
a separate maybe next week
Another day.
separate topic on that. But
Right.
right now, you guys, I mean, Sam, if you have something to add, but my point now is all these are great ideas. You know, you guys have wonderful ideas about how we're gonna go about it. We can do it ourselves. I agree. We have the knowledge. But the only problem here is that the leadership is key, and also like how the plan and the direction. Because to tell you the truth, I mean, Farmer said the right thing. You know, if you look at Badibu area, the electric is more stable there. You barely sometimes get it off. I don't know whether they are supplied by Senegal or why is that. But where I live in Badibu, the power don't usually go off. But if you look at the combos, and we don't have power. Like I said, the president was speaking, the power went off. You know, we see that clip. It's a lot of
Yeah, that's it.
issues happening in the combo areas. Why is that? That's what is not, that's what we don't have explanation for. So if you don't have explanation for something, we know that the generators are old, they're using generators, but why is it that, the up is more stable than the combo area? So that's a very good question. And then another thing is like, we have the knowledge, we have the knowledge, we can do it ourselves. Now, what are the best protocol? What is the best approach to go with the power plant? So who is the best company to work with, and how do we pay for this? Are they gonna be like, okay, let's come and drill a well and we can, you take 50%, I mean like 75%, and we take, we take 25%, because they come up with that kind of thing. They see, there's oil here, let's drill a well, then we will give you this percentage. But we have to also look at it. If we cannot afford to pay for these power plants, there must be a mechanism how, it can be paid, either in form of a loan, or how the revenue going to be collected, and how we can be able to gradually pay for this.
There are many ways.
It's a lot involved, but there must be a plan. Like Sam said, if you don't plan, if you don't,
if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
You will plan to fail.
That's it.
So
That's
what
it.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Sawane,
the leadership, the money is what is lacking. The knowledge, yes, the knowledge can be learned. That's one I know. And I know we can do it ourselves too. We have smart people, we can do it. But these are the three things we need to focus on: the resources, the plan, and then the leadership. Unless you guys have something else, but it seems like that's how the conversation is going.
Well, I'll come in, and first I want to thank Famara.
Yeah, we can wrap it. Yeah, we can wrap it up because it's almost over an hour.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. Famara, thank you for your part too. And he made a good reminder here, OMPG program also that is out there. And it is true that people in the rural area are now getting a stable electricity than the ones that are being supplied by Nawec, because the rural area is not really being supplied by Nawec. They are being supplied by, I believe that by Senegal, some part of Senegal, or another company. That's why. So that's why I said, if we split Nawec into two, water department and electricity department, let each department focus on their area and try to control the little combo area that they're supplying and remedy their situations while we look into the future. And the future is the long term. What do we do long term? Let's start to work on that. And yes, we can get a company. We don't have the tools and technology to build one for ourselves in Gambia, but we can deal with outside companies that can come and build one for us. However, it needs to be very strategic, and our government need to be very careful and need to have the right representatives in there to negotiate those contracts, so that at the end of the day, the long-term solution and the long-term benefit is for Gambia. Any contract, any outside contractor that we deal with, we need to look at Gambia first. One, yes, we can pay this off and it belongs to us because it's our country and it's going to stay here. And two, we need to make sure that when we build something like that, at least 90% of the employees should be Gambians, not foreigners, not what that company is going to bring. If it's Chinese, we don't want them to bring their own people to run our country for us. We can run it ourselves. We want most of the employees to be ours, while we send our own people to go learn and train so that they can take it over, because long term, we need to be able to sustain this and run it ourselves. Countries and international donors know that every time they give countries like Gambia money, half of that money is going into somebody else's pocket. They know that. So we don't want the money. We want funding. We want them to come and build it for us so that the money will be utilized correctly. They supply it, build it, and then we'll talk about how do we pay it. How do we pay it? Because now that the money is going to be in there, and not only that, but the source of how we collect our revenue will be digitalized, will be electronic. It's not going to go into anybody's hands. So all the funds will be there. All the revenue that's going to be generated is going to go into a bank account. So they can have their share as part of their payment. We have our share. At the end of the time, whether it's a 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, or 30-year time, when that time comes in, we pay them off. They're out of there. We run it ourselves. It belongs to us.
Yeah. You can make a lot of good agreements,
Yep.
And always try to choose the best, what is going to benefit
we
you.
cannot let them do like we did the Chinese.
Not
The
to make
Chinese
an
have their
agreement
fishing
and
trawlers and they're destroying our fish. They destroying our
and
beaches, and nobody's
later
holding them
turn back.
accountable. We cannot get into that kind of agreement. It has to be something that somebody's going to hold them accountable to make sure they do the right thing for our country. So thank you all. That's all I have.
Every business, you have to look for the best. And for me, what I just wanted to say was, some normally we have oil, what people are saying. So normally we would have said it's no problem when we even go with the generators because we are having oil from our own natural resources. But the problem is we cannot even start anything with our own oil because we have no refinery. You understand? Even if it is true that the oil is there, we cannot start anything with it.
Is
We
the
then
oil
have-
is there?
Yeah, but then we don't have refinery. So that means we have to give like Nigeria also to make it petrol for us. And then you have to pay and you make losses again, things like that, because we cannot build our own refinery yet. Because that's the most important thing. You have your own refinery so that you can sell it out as petrol or anything. That's where the money starts to come. But the crude oil alone, we in Gambia cannot start anything with. That's it. We can only sell countries that crude oil and get that money. But when that money comes, I don't know. I don't want to. We cannot say it anyway because we still don't have a stable electric supply. And then, Mr. Sawane, what you said is true, and I suspect that maybe around Badibu they are having another discom. That's what I said at the beginning. These are companies they buy and sell, which is very common now in Africa. So I'll not be surprised to see one of these companies buying from Senegal electricity like Nawec and then try to sell it. And this person can sell it anywhere. He can even sell that to Guinea-Bissau. The most important thing is the cable is there. So it can be the case also in Badibu. And when they are buying from Senegal and they have more stable electric supply, then you realize it in Badibu too, because that's the. So when one buying from Nawec is going in and out, you can realize it also, from which supplier it comes. So maybe that is the case. I cannot say because we don't have any generator for Badibu or anything. That's why when people say it's from Senegal, they have to try and get the clear information, because maybe this company, just like Cas Power, is buying from Nawec. So when Cas Power is doing nonsense, we cannot always point the finger to Nawec, So we have to be always be careful with these companies, these comps, and for them, they used to buy it very cheap and then sell it. That's their business. They make, So the consumers will pay more because of their nonsense. So thank you very much. That's what I wanted to say for today. And I think Famara can come and wrap it up. Or Mr. Sawane?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, thank you so much, Alas, and then Sam. So Famara, you can come and then we can close. We are not hearing you, Famara.
Famara is Tom.
Yeah, I'm good now. I think that closed it all. Sam said it all. Alex wrap it up. So thank you so much. Good to have you back with you again.
Thank you very much.
A while. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And bye bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, y'all have a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Catch up later. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.